Well, today we're going to be discussing whether or not Logan is funny. Now, for those who want a simple answer to whether Logan can be funny, that's a yes. Although note how I phrased that. Logan can be funny. However, that comes with many asterisks attached. So let me show you what I mean with this whole question, as well as how or why some people might disagree in certain areas. Let's start with something most of us already know. Humor is subjective. To illustrate this, we'll have three audience groups shown the same joke. Group A might find the joke absolutely hilarious, Group B might find it just okay, and Group C might find it flat out annoying. This varies from person to person as well as joke to joke. Even just to use myself as an example, I found videos that some people found not very good to actually be quite funny, and many of Logan's jokes landed. For a recent example, I found Goodman's Apple Vision Pro to be funnier than many other people said it was. Obviously, it wasn't the pinnacle of comedy, but compared to how some people were calling it awful, I thought it was decent. Alternatively, we have Cody Goes to Preschool. Kindergarten now, where I found the video awful and barely funny at all. Meanwhile, many others were praising the video for how funny it was to them. However, can we say that Logan is consistently, or even often, funny? I mean, maybe, depending on who you ask. What I see most often, however, is Logan being called funny in an out-of-context sense. Here's an example I see from time to time. Logan's content gets too much hate. This content is hilarious, followed by a few short clips. But that's the thing. Myself and most others will probably agree that SML is hilarious in an out-of-context sense. In fact, I'd argue nearly every single SML video has at least one joke that could be funny in an out-of-context sense. But that's the thing. These are out of context. It ignores the rest of the video. It's very easy to say SML is funny when you take a few second long joke that actually landed out of an otherwise mediocre video. Or even worse, sometimes you'll have an out of context joke that doesn't even work in the original context and only works when thrown in literally out of nowhere. That's the problem I believe exists with determining whether or not SML is funny, since it sort of varies on the definition, which loops back to what I said towards the beginning of this video. Can SML be funny? Yes, of course, that's pretty apparent. Is SML generally funny in isolated, out-of-context clips? Once again, yes. But let's get to the root of this. Is SML regularly funny? And if not, when was the last time he was? So let me explain what I mean by regularly funny. This expands beyond just a singular video, and especially beyond part of a video. This means Logan has to be regularly and routinely making content that's clever and funny with jokes that generally land. No, not every joke or even every video will be a winner, but I'm saying on average here. And the answer is... sort of. Like I mentioned earlier, comedy is very subjective. However, what do I think and what do others think? Well, for me, I don't think Logan's content has been regularly funny for quite a while, perhaps as far back as even the junior era. Now, have things been improving? I'll get to that in a minute. But as for others though, that's a lot more difficult to say, though ironically enough not as much as it has been in the past. You see, Logan has been gradually losing viewers over the past few years. This is both a blessing and a curse to a certain degree, but for the sake of this discussion, it's a good thing, mainly because of the viewers he has kept. A lot of them are at least a bit older when compared to how things were in the Jeffy era. In the Jeffy era, you couldn't hope to get an accurate read on much of anything because viewers would eat up anything with Jeffy on the thumbnail, praising Logan as the funniest person ever regardless of video quality. Sure, you still get some of that, but there's a much clearer consensus on a lot of things without a bunch of viewers tipping the scales in a heavily biased manner. Good videos are more often seen as generally good, even if Jeffy's completely absent, while bad videos are more often seen as bad. And while obviously this won't be a universal consensus, as we aren't a hive mind, it's certainly a lot better than it used to be. It also explains Logan's gradual shift towards asking whether his videos are good or not, and a cautiously optimistic version of me believes that he might be genuinely making a concerted effort to improve. You know, a very cautiously optimistic version of me. But let's get back on track from that tangent. If I had to venture a guess, I think a lot of people don't find SML funny in a regular sense. I think a lot of what I hear about SML being funny has to do with out-of-context scenes, while the actual videos still range in quality. But that's not always the case either. Sometimes some people genuinely think that even a single scene can run away with the video, improving the rest of an otherwise bland video. Or alternatively, a bad scene can completely crater a video. And you know what? I can see that, especially since even just one or two scenes have impacted a score for better and for worse before. This can in general vary from character to character, or even within certain characters. For an example on that first point, I can't remember the last time Rose was even funny, and I really do understand why so many people call her their least favorite character. Meanwhile, on that second point, Brooklyn Guy used to be a highlight in videos, and a Brooklyn Guy video was always a welcome treat. Now though, despite my praise for scenes where Brooklyn Guy is with Simmons, it's sort of a toss-up as to whether or not scenes with just Brooklyn Guy will be funny, at least in my opinion. Sometimes he's great and the highlight of the video, other times he just talks a bunch. Or hey, what about another Chris character? Cody got worse for a while there, but since Timmy stopped being around him for any length of time, he's been improved a bit. Though let's get to the most important part. Have things been improving, at least in terms of humor? To that I must say a resounding kinda, maybe, sort of. I think this is a sort of 2 steps forward, 1 step back situation. For example, you get scenes with Brooklyn Guy and Simmons, which are generally pretty good. But then you'll also get basically any scene with Cody and Timmy. You'll get an actually funny or creative scene, but then you'll also get half of Rose's jokes. You'll get a Brooklyn Guy the Assassin, but then you'll also get a Cody's hot dog restaurant. See, it's difficult to pinpoint. I said earlier that a cautiously optimistic me would say that things are gradually improving, but I genuinely don't know. I think within the next couple months there will be a clearer picture as to how things might be headed. As an easy example, if Logan will really end the Cody and Timmy arc. Now then, to conclude, let's answer that question of whether SML is funny.
I have no idea!
Seriously, if you were looking for a truly definitive and objective answer, then you'll be quite disappointed, since comedy is inherently subjective. It's just plain hard to tell right now. I don't think SML is consistently funny right now, and arguably hasn't been for a while. But I can't lie, I think that the out-of-context moments are almost always hilarious, and that things might be improving. Might. Look, I've gotten my hopes up for Logan improving before, and have been horribly disappointed. That's all for now, though. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that SML is actually really funny, or do you think he still has a long way to go? Thank y'all for watching, and take care.
Toilet paper!